Yo, what's up, guys? Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting, one of the HCS commentators, analysts, and grassroots creators, coming with part 2 of today's crazy Rosetermania. The last video we talked about native gaming and collect surprisingly separating, and literally as we were recording one video live a few minutes ago, Spartan announcing that he's actually been dropped from Sentinels as well. So we have part 2 of Rosetermania going on right now, and of course, just like last time, just like part 1, excuse me, I have my man West Price Clutch with me, and yeah, we have our little mini HCS desk going on, and we're gonna talk about Spartan and Sentinels. West, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this is the big one, right? Unfortunately, having to split this into 2 videos made the first conversation a little tough because this is the big splash that really is going to dictate how everything from here plays out. Spartan getting removed from Sentinels is something that I'm honestly shocked is happening at this point. Right as the tournament ended, Tony, I know we were on the desk and I said, Sentinels getting top 16. I've seen this 100 times throughout Halo history. When something like this happens and a team places this bad with the expectations of winning a tournament that Sentinels have, team changes follow. But I didn't hear anything up until this moment, so I'm pretty shocked that they've waited this long and actually pulled the trigger, because we know the talent Spartan has. We know when he is healthy and in form, the unit on the map, the series changing of a player he has been for the Sentinels team, the dominant main slayer for this team that he has been. The big question is, what is Sentinels doing removing him from the team? Because they do not make that decision without knowing exactly what they are doing to follow up the removal of a player like Spartan the Dog.
Yeah, guys, in case you forgot, it was not too long ago at Arlington where let's be honest, we saw a disappointing finish coming from Sentinels, but right after that placing, we saw Spartan tweet out, lost to C9 1-3 out at top 16. I don't know what happened today, but I got to our match and I felt a type of feeling I've never felt, low blood sugar or something. But all series, I felt like I was going to faint. So disappointed today, of all days, it happens all my fault. And after that, just kind of talked about like him just not feeling well, and eventually deciding that he wanted to maybe slow things down a little bit and really look at his mental health, his physical health, and on top of that, even slowed down the grind a bit, deciding not to stream for these crazy 8 and 12 hours every single day. In fact, I didn't see him stream one time since Arlington, so I thought maybe him slowing things down, taking a step back, moving in the right direction would be exactly what not only himself, but what Sentinels need. But again, what now an hour ago, because we just recorded another video and we were going through the initial shock of what was happening, he tweets out, just got to start my medication today for everything that has been going on, but also just got dropped. This one hurts. Good luck to the rest of the team. I don't know if I'm an unrestricted or restricted free agent yet, but I'm looking for a team for the rest of the season. So again, seemed like he said everything, was doing everything to move the team in the right direction, move himself in the right direction, and surprisingly dropped just less than an hour ago.
Yeah, it's got to be tough, especially when health is involved, and something that feels like it's probably out of Spartan's complete control, and from the rest of the boys on Sentinels, got to be feeling like it's out of their control as well. And I feel like this is probably a majority of the reason that this team change was made. Spartan, a guy that's known to get emotional, and like there's good days and bad days, similar to maybe like a teammate that I had once in Nated, as far as like when they're feeling themselves and they feel great and they are like in rhythm and having a good day, man, is it a fucking blast to team with these guys, right? Like they take over the server and you're like, yeah, I want to team with Spartan. But then I'm sure there's times where the health kind of is on a bad day and they're not themselves and they're not able to play up to what the standard that they've been able to set. And I think that from a team's perspective, it's got to be difficult to try and deal with the inconsistencies of that are out of your control, and feel like as a team, it's very difficult to have a consistent level when you have an individual that's um, inconsistent with these difficulties that they're trying to work through. And there's not always an easy answer. And it's like, quote unquote, the baggage that this player comes with. And like the highs are high and the lows are low. I think Sentinels obviously probably felt like they maybe wanted to move in a more consistent direction, which is the only explanation here. Because I truly don't know if you're going to find a talent that is going to match what Spartan brings when the highs are high. I think we all know who Tyler can be when he is himself and he is feeling good. But are you willing to consistently day in day out practice, tournament by tournament, like kind of risk the inconsistencies that are going to come with the nature of the structure of the team? I think Sentinels decided to move on, is what I'm seeing here, and it's always so difficult for the individual, especially when it feels like I said, like it's not completely in their control, and it's got to be something that he has to work through, and something that Sentinels didn't feel like they wanted to continue going down that road.
When I think of Sentinels, I feel like lots of times the team would go where Spartan would go, and like more than just an X Factor type of thing. Like I feel like Sentinels were at their best when Spartan was showing off and showing out and just stuffing that stat sheet. Like you talked about the talent, you talked about what he looks like at his peak, and he is one of the best players in the game at his peak. He has a extremely underrated shot. He's able to put down damage and stay alive, and it reflects time and time again when you go to that post Carnage leaderboard. And I think back to a conversation that I had with SLG, and he talked about the fact that he said that when Legend left Quadrant, a lot of people kept saying, "Oh, they need to replace Legend. They need to replace Legend. How do you replace Legend?" And he told me, he said that was the wrong way to look at it. We're not trying to replace Legend. We're trying to create an entirely new team. And I feel like that kind of translates here as well. Like I can't see a world where you replace Spartan and what he puts out, and maybe the same thing for Native as well. What he puts out at his peak, like you're now creating a new system. You're now creating a new team, and I think I feel like that really does align with Sentinels. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think 100%. I mean, it's very similar to you're kind of built around a superstar, and you need the superstar to perform. And you kind of use it as a crutch in a sense of like, hey, we play around him, we set this player up for success. When this player is on fire, we have success. When this player is not, we do not have success. So I do think that the old way Sentinels played the game around Spartan is going to have to change, because you are not going to find another player that I think you're standing up like you were able to in Spartan in some of these situations where he did take over. I mean, he reminds me of Naded so much, and I just want to double down on that with the idea that like so many teams that Native was on, the only reason that they found themselves in the top 3 and the top 2 was because of Naded and what he was able to do, and take over games. But there was a level of, if Naded is not playing well, the way that this team plays the game is not going to have success. They are not going to be able to hang with the team that they're matched up against in the grand finals, because of kind of just the structure of the play styles and their thought process on how they want to break down this game. Like you said it, their structure, their what was the word you used? I forgot. But they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, and with whatever fourth they pick up in a very similar light to a lot of teams that have had to do it in the past, they're gonna have to figure out the way that they want to have success and build their structure from the ground up. And I mean, you look at this team with Boobadooboo, Falcated, Lethal, the most historic, like one of the top 2 historic players in the game, maybe top 5 at this point. Like those guys have done it in so many different fashions, like especially Lethal, where he has been the main slayer for his team and won tournaments, and he has been the objective player for his team and won tournaments, and been the scrappy player. These individuals are so talented, and they've had so much success across so many titles for so many years that I have no idea. I have no doubt that they are flexible enough to figure out the ways to have success, and I think that they're going to have to rebuild that once again. So we'll see what they're able to do. Very interested to see who their fourth is, and with that, what kind of a style that they're going to now be. Life without Spartan.
Sentinels leading up to the event, not bad. Obviously top 8
Good.
not where they wanted to be at on February 13th. 4th place. Right after that, 2 third-place finishes, including the North American qualifier, but then leading to that top 16 that we were talking about, which had to be a large part of the reason why, if not the only reason why, or one of the only reasons why, that they decided to make this change. Spartan during the last event. As far as the stats, 16 kills averaging per game, but least damage dealt. And for a team that's largely made up of, Falcated Sparty bringing most of that firepower, even though I was very impressed with how Lethal was playing recently, something just didn't feel right going into Arlington. And did I think it was gonna be a change made? I didn't. I didn't think it was gonna be a change made. I know you said you're really, not too surprised there, but I did not think there was gonna be a change made. But obviously it is, and I'm kind of thinking back to the off season where Renegade, first went to FaZe, and it created this ripple effect, this domino effect across literally every other team in the league. And do I think it's going to affect it that much? Maybe not that much, but what I will say, with Collect and Sparty both being available, there's a possibility this is not just going to affect 2 or 3 teams. Like, it is. I would think there's a possibility this could actually affect 4, 5, 6 teams. Like, it can be that domino that kind of, restarts Rosetermania, where we see a lot of teams that maybe we slightly don't recognize.
Yeah, this could be a little bit different. Spartan should have his pick of the litter outside of, I would say, probably the top 4. As long as he can bring a level of confidence to the guys that, like, what happened in Arlington isn't that, like, has no chance of happening again. As far as, like, just, I mean, health issues are so difficult, right? So it's even, like, hard to have a conversation about those. But as long as he's got himself figured out health wise, and you're getting Spartan the dog, somebody's gonna make a team change for that. Like, he is too talented to not find himself on a top 6 roster at the very worst. And he gives a team firepower. So, I mean, I'm looking at. I don't think Shopify Rebellion will make a change. I think Complexity are pretty stubborn in a sense of what they believe. They truly believe what they have in house will get the job done. And that doesn't leave you much, right? Like, business. If I'm on business and I got a guy that can't go to North American tournaments this year, I know London's right around the corner, and they've stayed true to Druck. But I'm making the phone call to Spartan, I think, if I'm running the operations over there. Scroll down a second.
Yeah, sure.
There's I mean, obviously Native Gaming would love to have a fourth like Spartan. And then I'm I'm not quite sure. He might just decide to put a team together himself and say, these are the 3 guys I want to team with. Now who's my org? And I think Spartan is good enough to kind of start making shot calls like that. So I'm excited to kind of see where he ends up, because if we know anything about Spartan, similar to what Nate probably went through, when Nate found himself in a situation like this, which he did several times, it lights a fire up under these guys' ass. And when they start when they get on a team that they know can compete, and they start to compete with some of these teams, especially the Sentinels of the world, there will be a chance for Spartan to get revenge. And we all know that's going to be a very loud Spartan the dog. And if he is popping off, that is going to be a very fun spectating experience.
Yeah, the one thing we know is that whenever there's a drop that happens and Sparty's going at his old team, it is entertaining. It is much watch TV. Grab your popcorn and get comfortable, because it's gonna be fun, especially on land. Even online, watch the Twitter, but especially on land. Ooh, Smarty versus Sentinels. I don't care where you're at. Find yourself a monitor and watch. And it's funny you did mention business. I like collect with those business guys. I like Sparty with it. In fact, there was a rumor that Sparty was supposed to be going to Native Red a while ago. I don't know if you remember that when they were looking to when they were looking to finalize a replacement for Druck the first time. We heard rumors that Sparty was going to be going to Native Red and that not going through. So it's not too foreign, but you make a good point. Outside of Space Station Gaming, Optic, and FaZe, do you think Shopify Rebellion is not gonna make a change?
Shopify will not change. Complexity will not change.
I'm surprised, and no chance that we see a Ryan Noob and Sparty reuniting. Part
no
2.
Chance. I'm gonna go no chance there.
No Sparty and Ryan Noob part 2. I'm gonna say low percentage. I don't want to say no chance.
I'm gonna say no chance. Complexity are all about what they have in house, and they truly believe in themselves. They've been putting in a ton of work. I think that they're gonna at least run it back for London, and maybe they'll have some regrets after that if London doesn't go in their favor and they don't at least get top 4. Maybe we'll start talking about, hey, is somebody interchangeable here? But I mean, the big thing is this is how this is going to go. Is Sentinels are going to get their pick of the litter. Outside of our top, we'll call it top 5. Complexity will not make a change. Sentinels will get their pick of the litter. What individual do they want? Do they want APG? Do they want to try somebody on business? Do they want to pick up whatever piece they want? Like whatever makes the most sense for them. From there, another opening will happen. Spartan will have to make the decision. Does he want to join a team of 3 that has an organization, or does he want to put together what he believes is the best standing chance to give himself a chance at these top dogs and revenge on a team like Sentinels, the opportunity to get in more top 4 placings, and what kind of an org can we get around that? Because there will be an org that is like, yeah, no, why would I take this team when I can have that team? In this sense. So I think that that's probably more likely the route. Depending on what happens to like how devastated some of these rosters get, the orgs may look to just revamp their entire roster by saying maybe they have one person that Spartan thinks is going to make the cut, and go from there. But if I'm Spartan, I'm not focused on joining any of these teams at 3. I am taking the 3 most talented players that I can, and I have been in Spartan shoes in a situation like this where you're used to getting at least top like 3, and all of a sudden you find yourself as a free agent. Your goal right now is to put together a stacked roster that can get you back, org or not. Like what's important is you get revenge on the guys that tried to replace you and said you weren't good enough, and I think that that's where his mind's going to be focused. So I'm excited to see kind of what Hurricane hits and how Spartan deals with this, because this could be a masterclass of a little write up here that he puts together on another contender, if so be it.
Wow, it's so funny because like literally just a few days ago, I was talking with Tools with Garrett and talking about like, wow, it's been slow as far as Rosetermania news, but it's been a fun season so far. And then today, a bomb gets dropped, and that's, guys, in case you missed it, Collect being dropped off that native gaming roster, and Spartan being dropped off of Sentinels, and what this means for the rest of the league, who knows? But
you know what? There's one player that I've been preaching at that I think makes the most sense
for Sentinels.
For Sentinels, and I have been preaching this kid for a long time.
Precision?
My guy. That is the best player not on a top 4 team. And it makes the most sense. And maybe he's the one that would... I don't think anybody else would leave Complexity. But maybe he's the one. And I think that would be one hell of a play for... an opportunity for him. Because every time I watch that kid, he is special.
I mean, he's good.
He is the truth. I'm a Precision fan, and I would love to have him have an opportunity. But that being said, I think Complexity is a good opportunity for him to compete. So that's a very, very difficult decision.
So why not the other way? Why not combine Precision with the likes of like a Sparty or a Collect?
Because I don't think you could convince Ryan Noob to make a team change. Okay. With what Complexity has going on. It would have to be someone leaving them, which would be a tough pill to swallow for Complexity. But yeah, I don't know why that just stuck out to me, but it, like, if I'm a top 4 team or a top 5 team, we'll throw Sentinels up there knowing that they belong in that region. It's like, who's the one person that I feel like I've been saying is that untapped talent that next up? Like, that's who I would go for if I'm making a team change.
Well, I mean, either way, it's been a really, really exciting season so far, and things have gotten even more interesting. Things have gotten even more exciting here in the HCS. Is there anything else you want to throw out there? I mean, we talked about Collect in the last video. We talked about Spartan in this video. Before I close it out, any other words, any other things that have run through your mind that you want to get out there as far as this crazy 3rd season of HCS?
Yeah, I think it's going to be wild, right? How deep does this hurricane go? How many teams get affected? This is always the worst time to be a player on any seed outside of the top 5. Top 4 even, I would say, after rethinking what it would be. Like, this is a stressful time. We got a month and a half before the event. Not a ton of time to get yourself situated, get some good practice in, and feel confident that you have a chance to take the whole thing going into London. So you can best believe all of this will be sent up in the next probably 72 hours. I know contracts are probably going to add maybe some time into that, but these guys are going to get after it. And when they do, we're going to have a lot of exciting opportunity to look at scrims leading into London, and the qualifiers leading into London, as far as like how early success, how many of these teams have early success and who's not having it. And those are going to be all of the discussion points that we will be covering going into London, because once again, we're going in with a little bit of mystery as far as who these teams are, what they're capable of, what their ceiling is, what their floor is. So always exciting times as fans, but just remember, as fans, we also love these guys as players. They're the reasons that we get to enjoy this, and unfortunately, some of them are going to have some pretty hard times here. So hoping it works out for everybody. I know that's not even possible, but hoping the best situations kind of fall into the hard workers and the ones that are given an opportunity, take advantage of it.
Well, guys, that was your HCS report, featuring special guest Wes Clutch jumping in. We got some big news that's happening. We got to bring in the big dogs, and I love the fact that you said that even though it's probably not possible, that we do wish the best for.
Well, not everybody can get. I know your predictions might have 16 teams in the top 6, but that can't actually happen.
we do wish the best for every player and whatnot. We really do, but because obviously as fans, we love the Rosetermania, we love the talk, we love the gossip and whatnot. But last thing we want to do is mess with anybody's livelihood or anything like that. So we wish the best for everybody. We hope everything works out as much as possible for everybody. But Rosetermania, it's fun to talk from a fan perspective. We love this stuff. So. Guys, that's your HCS report, and London, right around the corner, literally right around the corner, and all of this happens. Let me know in the comments down below what you think is going to happen with both Spartan and Colette. We talked about them in the last video. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you click on that video. It's going to pop up right here, maybe here. Click on the video, guys. You know where to find my videos. And show some love to Wes Price Clutch. I'm going to have his socials down in the description below for joining us. Wes, thank you so much. And until next time, guys.